Hey everyone, this whole video is for you out there, the fans, for watching, as a thank you for reaching 100,000 subscribers for Entertain the Elk, which is still mind-blowing. The whole purpose of this Q&A is so that way you can get to know me better, you can know more about the history of Entertain the Elk, my goals for the channel, and just personal things about me. Thank you so much for submitting questions. I wasn't able to get to every single one, but thank you for submitting them. And I hope that I was able to get to at least a majority of them. What inspired you to start making video essays? I moved out to Los Angeles from my home of Texas about 7-8 years ago to pursue a career in film, TV, mainly focused on writing, but maybe directing too. And it's just a grind out here in Los Angeles. In the meantime, I've done other things in entertainment on the digital distribution side. I've also done assistant work. I've assisted directors before. And at my last stint over at Disney, assisting a director, when that was coming to an end, and I was reaching a little period of unemployment, I just wanted something to do. And I think at that time I came across video essays. I did on YouTube. I didn't really know anything about them or know that that was just a form of content that was growing and out there. And when I came across it, like I said, during a time of unemployment, I thought it might be something to take a stab at. Take some, my passion for art and entertainment and film, and passion for writing, and some limited editing experience I had at the beginning, and trying to combine them some way. And just hoping that maybe something could grow. It was an effort to try and, I guess, take my career in my own hands and see where it goes from there, as opposed to relying on other people and relying on, hopping from job to job and not feeling very satisfied where I was or where I was going. So it was an opportunity to try and take things into my own hands. Where did the name Entertain the Elk and the artwork come from? When I was getting ready to launch the channel, I needed a name, and I think I went through hundreds of iterations, so many different things. A lot of channels that I noticed that are mainly focused just on film and TV had a lot of puns with film and TV things in them, so I tried to do something different because I knew I wanted to explore other topics just besides film and TV. I was limited and also in my design experience, so I knew that taking, like for the logo, so I knew taking an animal might be somewhat easy. Might have a clear image that people could come to know and connect with this channel. And so just going through a number of animals, I think there was like an owl at some point. I came across elk, and I liked that. I liked the image of the antlers coming up. And I could picture my way of making that design and doing it somewhat simple. And then with that, with the name, I just like alliteration and having things that kind of rhyme or sound catchy. So having elk and then entertain, which, I don't know, sounded catchy in my head, and hopefully people like it. It stands out, it's different, and I hope it kind of has a unique feel to it. What does your process look like when making a video essay? So basically, from the beginning, I just try and find a topic that I think is unique or interesting, or I can try and put a unique spin on. Once I kind of have that idea or what I think it's going to be, when I feel like I have like my thesis statement or the thing I want to explore, I start there, and then I launch into research. That could be going to the library, online research looking through films and TVs and looking for certain things. And I kind of research with that thesis in mind as I'm looking for it, and looking for things to back that up, or looking for new things that might help reshape the thesis or what I thought, or reshape my preconceived notions and thoughts. It kind of shifts, it kind of takes shape there in the research process. I keep learning from that, take a lot of notes, and I try and weave them together then into an essay. Again, that essay, just like we all do in English class in high school, you have like your thesis statement for the most part, the thesis statement, and then you have like the rest of it is trying to prove that thesis statement and then ending up at a conclusion at the end. And trying to do that in a short, fun, entertaining way, trying to aim for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then from that, when you're writing, you also try and picture how you see it editing in your mind. So you try and write for pauses, or you write for these certain clips that you know you're going to use at those times. And so then I try, after I've written the script and I record it, which I do here with my microphone and here in my bedroom. Then I look for all these footage and films and photos and audio recordings that I know that I'm going to use to accompany my audio, and I find those and I splice them together on Final Cut 10, which is what I use to edit. I arrange it on there. I usually just kind of try and map up my entire audio out. I cut that and edit that to the pace that I like, and then I try and dump video on top of that to match up, to keep the flow going. After that, I try and find music online that is royalty free, copyright free, that I can use, and that's basically it. That's basically, and it's been being fine-tuned here and there, but that's basically the crux of what I do. Where do you get your inspiration from for each episode? My goal is to not redo the same video over and over and over and over again. My hope is that each video and each topic has its own contained feel and aesthetic. At the beginning, I did a lot, just music-wise, I did a lot of that kind of jazzy hip-hop that I liked when I was seeing, because it kind of had the beat going and it kind of made it feel just entertaining. But then that grew really tiresome, and a lot of people do that, and just trying to find different ways to do that. So I might use certain kind of music cues, or I might try and write the essay differently, like a screenplay in a certain way. Like I might try and make it more dramatic, or I might try and make it funnier, or might try and just have it be very formal and scholarly, where I'm just hitting the beat. So it's hard trying to weave in my own personality, and I don't know if I've done such a great job at it so far, because I want these to be for learning, and I would hope that people, from children to adults, could be enjoying these, students could be enjoying these and learning from them. But I also want to get across my personality, so that way you guys like me as well, and hopefully I'm part of why you come back to this channel. But as for like specific inspirations, sometimes it could just be an idea, or I'm watching a movie and I think that's interesting, or I could notice something in a TV show or in a song, and I think if it's something that I don't know and I'm interested in and I want to do research for myself, I might try and pair it together and say, okay, well then if I'm going to research it anyways for myself because I'm curious, maybe I can try and make an essay out of it, and hopefully other people will find it interesting as well and have the same questions that I did. What goals do you have for your channel? I think the main goal I would have for this channel would be that this becomes my main job, that I can build this into a business that financially supports me. And I'm not there at all or close to it, but I knew it would take time, and through sponsorships and through faithful patrons, maybe like yourselves out there, I really appreciate it, and every dollar just really helps and goes back into this channel to help me make more videos, to get me better equipment, to get me better software, to make better videos for you, the audience. Was there one video that changed everything for your channel? When I first started off, I was lucky enough with my Stanley Kubrick video to do a decent job off the top, that a lot of people liked it, got a lot of views. Then I had a few in there that were okay, didn't really take off or do anything that great, and I thought it might be like that for the foreseeable future, just kind of slow, plugging away, small views. And then everything probably changed with my video The Day The Simpsons Died. It was a topic, again, that I wanted to explore because I loved The Simpsons growing up and didn't watch it anymore and didn't really know why or what that moment was that stopped it for me. So that was an example of one that I wanted to find out for myself. I thought other people might resonate with it and enjoy it also. And that was one that just blew me away with how many people watched it. How many people enjoyed it, how many people hated it, but either way we're watching it and commenting on it. And yeah, that one I think has over 2 million views now. And I'll have some videos out there that are barely over 15,000 views. So, and then I have some that are over 2 million. So those for sure definitely changed this channel. That is how I have a majority of my subscribers was from those videos. And so I waited another 6 months because I didn't want to become just that. It'd be really easy just to scrap everything and do The Day Something Died. And maybe people would like if I did that instead, but that wouldn't be interesting for me. I don't want to be known as the guy who hates everything, because I love a lot of stuff out there and I want to share that passion and that love with people. And I'd rather do more analysis and critiques as opposed to just hating everything. So, but I know the fans liked it, and I don't want to be deaf to that either. So doing the day Family Guy died and the day SpongeBob SquarePants died was definitely me listening to the audience and seeing the comments and seeing that you guys wanted that content. I'll keep making those occasionally. Maybe that'll be my bread and butter and ones that do really well, but I definitely want to try for other series out there in the future or other things that might be a little more positive or just other types of content out there. Which of your videos is your favorite and least favorite? I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but the ones I'm probably the most proud of are the ones where I stepped out of my comfort zone to try and make something different and something I knew nothing about. Examples of those would be my Understanding Shakespeare video, the one exploring Monet and his style of painting. I love TV and film, but it feels a little easier to talk about it sometimes because a lot of that's just subjective and it's just kind of what I think, and a lot of it kind of skews into just like personal preference as opposed to talking about history and techniques for things that I have no idea about. So I'm really proud of those and the way those came together, and the response to those has been great. Those aren't some of my biggest videos, like I said, but seeing people who really enjoyed those and resonated with them was great. Another one that I really liked the topic of and people really resonated with it and had a good response to it was the one about horror VHS tapes. It was one of those ones that I thought I would take a stab at it, and you never know how those are going to go. Sometimes they can fall flat on their face, but that one did really well and did really well online, and other blogs picked it up, and it was around Halloween time, so that was a really sweet video to watch people respond to it, and getting to read the comments on that one was really fulfilling, and getting to go down memory lane collectively as an audience, all of us together, talking about our experiences going in the video stores and that growing up was really awesome. The ones that, not my least favorite either, because I enjoy all my videos, but the ones that didn't do maybe as well as I was hoping for, in an effort to put out content more frequently, which is hard when you're juggling jobs and relationships and this and that, was the 5-second soundtracks. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed those videos, and I'm so glad because I enjoy them too. And I can see why a lot of people didn't want to watch them or a lot of people didn't like them. Just because they're really short and they're not really offering a critique or an analysis or really even a perspective. The whole idea was to do more of an experimental, almost like a supercut of just seeing how music and images are paired together really quickly. Almost like flipping through a soundtrack or flipping through a vinyl of a soundtrack to a movie and just seeing how that works and how it's blended together really well. And doing some of those for like Lost in Translation and Guardians of the Galaxy, those kind of smaller ones that only lasted like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. I've pretty much stopped doing those, but the ones and I can see myself doing in the future, whereas the ones like I did for Edgar Wright, when I was exploring him more as a director with his movies, exploring the Cornetto trilogy. I have one idea for another 5-second soundtrack I want to do coming up here in the next month or so. Don't want to give it away now, but keep an eye out for it. And it'll be one like that where as opposed to one movie, I'm going to explore a director's entire filmography and the way he uses music. What's the most important and interesting thing you've learned after making video essays for over a year? I didn't really know much about the YouTube culture as a whole. I was probably like a majority of people who had a YouTube account, but just watched videos here and there and went down YouTube rabbit holes, but I wasn't really engaged in the culture and the communications. Getting onto that has been great. It's been difficult sometimes when people don't like videos or when there's so many memes or terms or just things happening that I don't understand and make me feel really old. But I guess when I research them and I get caught up with it, but trying to keep up with the way things change and morph and adapt and evolve so quickly online is really difficult. But it's also helped me get a thicker skin because there's a lot of poison out there, as all of us know, a lot of trolls. But hey, as long as people are watching and engaging, it's whatever it is. You've learned to like laugh those things off. So that's been a learning curve. Learning how to take criticism and how to make videos and keep making them and over and over and over and over again. Because a lot of this is like as soon as you finish one, you start the next day making the next one. So that can get a little mind-numbing or a little repetitive, but always when you just keep going through and keep pushing yourselves and finding new motivations and finding audience members who resonate with it and really enjoy the videos, and all those motivations really help so much. So that's definitely all been a learning curve, and it's been an eye-opening experience. Do you ever collaborate with other people? Do you want to? I haven't collaborated with anybody yet, but I definitely am open to it, and I've talked to other essayists that I admire and respect their work, trying to find a way to do it. I think the difficult part is that either you both work on one video, but then it's hard because you both then put them on your own site, or how do you divvy up views, or how do you divvy up money, or how do you share in that creative process together? I know during this whole creative process, I think a lot of essayists are just used to working alone and writing and editing alone. So I'm sure the idea of like sharing something and sharing a product and sharing that process is difficult. Yeah, so I'm open to it. Not really exactly sure how to do it yet, or how I would want to do it or approach it. But yeah, I think it'd be a great way to spread my brand to someone else's viewers, and likewise, if I can use Entertain the Elk to help spread the word on someone else's channel that I admire, I would happily do that. Who are some of your favorite video essayists? Like most people out there, my big influences are Nerdwriter, Lessons from the Screenplay, kaptainkristian, Every Frame of Painting, obviously. But besides that, because everyone already knows about those, at least for the most part, I really admire the work of Film Radar, Will Schoder. I'll put a list below in the comments, so that way you can just check out other channels. Maybe I'll pop them up on this video right now. Adam, future self, put them right here over your face. And now that I've talked about Entertain the Elk and the history of my channel and my goals and hopefully the future of my channel, now I'll take some questions about myself. Top 5 filmmakers, living or dead. This list always seems to be changing, but if I had to say 5 right now of my favorite directors, I would say Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, Billy Wilder, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson. Those are the kind of auteur directors who can seem to tackle any kind of genre or topic and just knock it out of the park every single time. Favorite childhood TV show or movie? And how does it influence your taste now? Like I said earlier, I was definitely raised on The Simpsons, and it's definitely shaped my kind of humor and the kind of content that I like. It's kind of one of those shows also that has so many levels to it, and I feel like so many people are able to appreciate it at different times of their lives. Like when I was a kid, I enjoyed the animation and the kind of silly situations and that kind of stuff. But when you get older, you really get to see the brilliance and the cleverness in it, in the writing. I remember when I was going to film school at the University of Texas in Austin and watching all of these classic films for the first time, like Citizen Kane and 2001: A Space Odyssey, and seeing references there that at the time when I was watching those movies, I would think, oh, they got that from The Simpsons. Then I realized, The Simpsons was able to so brilliantly pull these references and implant them into their show and weave them in. And it's so much fun. The more that I watch and the more content that I watch these days, getting to rewatch The Simpsons and see more jokes and more references that I just didn't get the first time around. Yeah, The Simpsons is still great. And again, if you've watched my video, I love the beginning through about season 9, and that's where I start kind of just like, I just dipped and stopped watching. Is there a TV series that has never died? I think shows that didn't die are shows that went off the air on their own terms, and when their stories, the stories they wanted to tell, were completed. Examples were like Breaking Bad, Parks and Recreation. Those kind of shows were just amazing throughout. They never had a huge dip in quality. Their story was done and they went off like on a high note. That for me is what I wouldn't consider dying. Even though the show is done, I wouldn't consider that dying. For me, what's dying is when a show goes on for way too long and it's just, like I said, a shell of itself after like 15 or whatever, how many years. And it's not even the same thing anymore. The kind of shows I would say that are maybe on right now that are still alive, I might have said South Park a year or two ago. It's still definitely watchable and I enjoy watching it still. I've seen every episode. But the last couple of years, there's been a little dip in quality. Another show that I think is just as good is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's had episodes and seasons where it seems to have dipped a little bit, but this past season was great overall. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I would say, is still very much alive, and hopefully it goes out on its own terms before it goes on for too long and dies. What is your favorite movie of the year? My wife and I just recently got movie passes, which are incredible, sidebar if you don't have one. And we've seen so many movies. We're trying to get caught up in all these kind of Academy Award type movies. I've really enjoyed 3 Billboards and Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread was incredible. And I'm probably forgetting so many movies, but a movie that I went into and my expectations were exceeded and I walked out just really excited about was probably Logan. It wasn't trying to appease children and adults. It knew that it wanted to tell a story, a really dark story, which is how I skew kind of anyways, and the kind of content that I like watching. And I just love, because superhero movies are getting a little, or they have for a while been a little like repetitive and just cumbersome and the same old hat. But I appreciated with Logan how it didn't really care about connecting to anything else or to launching another series or connecting to a world. It was able to take a character that we all knew so well and knew its history and just do its own thing in the future by itself, kind of small scale relatively. It wasn't saving the world, it was a little smaller. And I loved it. I love Hugh Jackman. I loved what they did with that and can't wait to watch it again. What's your favorite beer right now? I love this question. I love how random it is, and I love beer. So, like a lot of people right now, I think the craze is kind of IPAs, so I really like IPA beer. And the ones I probably like are California ones, since we have a lot of California IPAs over here. I like Ballast Point is one of my favorites. I like Angel City. Stone IPAs are great. Goose IPAs. And also when I'm in Texas, as a shout out to my favorite beer back home, I really enjoy a good Shiner Bock whenever I'm in Texas. Will we see your own short films or films in the future? I'm trying to get back into directing right now. I stopped for a while to focus on writing and working on screenplays and this and that, but trying to make more content. And I think making YouTube videos has kind of relaunched that desire just to make stuff and put it out there and see what people think. So I'm in pre-production on 2 things right now that I'm writing and directing. And when I'm done with it, I definitely want to share it with you guys. I'm not sure if it's going to be a thing where I post it on YouTube or if I keep those 2 things separate. I'm not sure, but whenever I make something and I'm ready to share it with the world, I'll definitely either put it on the channel or I will promote it in my videos, and I'll send out links and I'll post it and I'll point it to you guys so that way you guys can check it out. Who is the most underrated actor or actress? I'm always a fan of character actors. I like the ones who can seem to be chameleons and can get into any kind of genre and just like disappear into it. I'm going to forget a lot of people. Off the top of my head, well, I would have said Sam Rockwell. I think he's great and isn't nearly in enough stuff, but he got an Oscar nomination for 3 Billboards, and so I'm glad he's getting some recognition. Another one who I think is fantastic whenever I see him in stuff is Ben Foster. Whatever he's in, he's just fantastic. For a while, he was in like 3:10 to Yuma and 30 Days of Night. He's just one of those actors who seems to be able to do everything, and he is so good whenever he gets into a role. He's one of the kind of guys who's on the side. He's a side character that you, as the audience, or at least myself, want to end up just like watching him the entire time because he's so good. What are some of your favorite zombie films? I love zombie films. I'd probably say George A. Romero's original Dawn of the Dead is phenomenal. Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later is amazing. That's one of my favorites. I feel like those are my 2 favorites in the genre of zombies, in the sense that one is the slow moving zombies and the other one is like the running zombies. Those are my 2 favorites for that. There's another one I saw, it's called Rec, or R-E-C. I think that there's an American version of it called something. There's an American version of it that apparently was mediocre at best, but the original version is terrifying and it's amazing. It's limited, it's a kind of found footage thing, and I think it's all only in one apartment complex. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Is there a specific story that made you fall in love with storytelling? So when I was in high school, I think it was a junior in high school, I went and saw Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and I was just blown away by the complexity and the creativity of the movie. It just blew me away, and it was unlike anything I'd really seen at that point. It was one of those movies that when I left, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. It motivated me to start creating, and it made me want to write. And I started researching more movies and watching things like it. That's when I started getting into Stanley Kubrick and Paul Thomas Anderson and Coen Brothers and a lot of Hitchcock, kind of classic films. And I just couldn't get enough of it. I kept devouring it, and I just loved television, and I loved film, and I just wanted to be a part of it. I think it all kind of started when I saw Eternal Sunshine. It just blew me away. Whenever it's hard to recapture those feelings, but whenever I do, it's amazing. Whenever you can go see those movies or even watch a TV show, and when it's done, you just can't get it out of your head in the best way possible. I was just really moved by that and that story, and that's kind of what led me to right here, to right now. Yeah, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Thanks again for sending in questions. Again, if I didn't get to one of yours, I'm so sorry. Feel free to message me on the site again. I'll always be answering questions. If people want to reach out to me, you can always just email me. I love engaging with you guys, so don't feel like this was your only shot to do it. I just wanted to do this as a thank you for you. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too long or boring, and I hope you got to know me a little bit more, and I hope you have a little bit more, I don't know, just desire to come along on this channel's journey if you haven't already. So again, like I say at the end of all my videos, make sure you subscribe below, share it with your friends, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.